Finishing in second. Fuck that! Oh! The Wookiees don't care though!
Hello and welcome to another episode of 3 Foot Good. I'm Daren.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Rich.
And today, in this episode, we're going to go over the lists that we made for the Stormtide campaign. Because we're campaign nuts and we like pain, we've also kind of come up with a twist that we're going to add into the game, I believe. So that'll be somewhere also in the video.
Homebrew rules are coming up.
Of course. So we made our list for Stormtide campaign, and if you guys watched us at all a little bit, we are kind of campaign geeks,
junkies,
yeah, something like that. So this really, when it came out, it really kind of struck a nerve for us, and we're really looking forward to it. So I know that I had some difficulties throwing this list together, which means your head nearly exploded.
It did. I have a list making problem to where I will make lots of lists. I make tons of lists. This was hard.
It was difficult. I know. I had troubles hard with it. I made probably, well, it's probably not near as many as you, but I probably went through 5 or 6, and I made 2 changes just this morning. So
before we dive in, so what is this? What did we have to do for the campaign? You get 1,200 points, and you get to create your own commander, which is not part of the 1,200 points. And these are going to be your units and upgrades you get for the entire campaign. So not only did I have to think of what do I want to bring and what can I bring, and all my guys are expensive because I play clones.
Same.
But I'm going to have to think of what kinds of missions do I need to prepare for over this entire campaign. I can't change this once we get started. The other thing that's different on this is that if you want 3 versions of an upgrade like Recon Intel, you have to buy 3, and then you're stuck with those 3, even if you don't ever use more than 2, but you also can't get to 4. So it was a little. It was hard.
It was a little bit more difficult, but it made it fun.
Yes,
it did make it fun, at least for me.
Do we want to talk about our commanders first, our own, who are representing us in the campaign?
Sure, we'll do that.
All right, so I'll start with mine.
We're not going to get names and everything.
No. We're not worried about that.
No.
So you get to create, your commander starts with a base profile that's in the book. It's listed.
They're both exactly the same.
You can add a trooper type to your commander for extra 5 points. Make it clone, droid, Wookiee, whatever you want. You then have one of 3 skill trees you get to pick from. The first slot you get is free. Otherwise, each additional upgrade you get is going to cost you 5 more points.
5 victory points. And those victory points you're going to have to earn.
Well, but then he also costs 5 more points to take.
Yeah, and you're going to have to earn those victory points through winning battles. The more battles you win, the more victory points you can spend, but then he gets more expensive. Or your commander gets more expensive.
But and it gets more cooler stuff.
It gets cooler stuff, and I think it takes points out of your
overall winning
thing. So yeah.
So I picked, because I'm me, I changed my commander. I gave him the Wookiee Trooper subtype.
Oh wow.
Because I want a Wookiee Trooper commander or 2. And I started with a Powers. So I have a Powers Wookiee Trooper for my commander to start with.
Oh, wow, nice.
So
well done, yeah. Okay, so this is probably the hardest part for me, the second hardest part for me, is because I building my list several times, I kept going back to going clone trooper. That way it's sharing all kinds of abilities with your clones, because that's kind of what they do.
What clones do.
It is. And from a figure manufacturer, Darkfire Design, I do have some pretty cool models for that kind of thing. And I kept going back to it, but I also got from those guys a Mandalorian model that I really wanted to throw in, and so I went away from
the Mandalorian.
Yeah. So I went away from the clone trooper and just went with normal trooper, and my first one was also a power. So
nice.
So we both went force, so that is the Mandalorian model. And I wanted to get out there. Now, their models are great. The models you get are great. I started painting one up, but I just had this itch to get it out on the table. So
and you can use whatever you want.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's nice. It's nice.
And that then makes a difference on how you build your list and what you're going to put into it from there.
Because you can expand into the other tech trees. Like I said, there's 3 of them. One that's a powers, one that is a special operative, so he's got more of the I'm going to shoot and be in the combat, and then one that's a command that's more of a support role. But you can mix and match between them. You just have to spend your victory points to do it.
Can you actually take powers as a Wookiee?
Why couldn't I? I'm not a clone or a droid.
All right, okay.
The only stipulation was if you gave them a clone or droid trooper type, you could not take the powers. So I'm going to break their game before he even gets off the ground. Because the Republic, which is the army I picked, has several awesome command cards that you need a Wookiee commander to do. Yeah. And now
You're one of the reasons we don't have nice things.
Yes, I'm one of the reasons we don't have nice things.
Okay.
All right, so
go ahead and start.
A caveat with mine first. Obviously, as you can see, not everything is completely painted yet. Once we start playing, I am only going to play with things that have at least 3 colors on them. Because again, our whole thing is make it look good at 3 feet. So what do I have? I have my commander, which, and I guess we should also start this off. Daren and I have come to a arrangement that if things have been spoiled, like the Wookiees and Yoda, for the Republic, we're allowing them in if the cards have been completely spoiled.
Yep.
So we were both under that. We're cool with that. So until those get out, I don't really have a good commander model yet, because as you're going to see here, I'm also using another thing. So to start with, I have Obi-Wan Kenobi. So awesome Obi-Wan Kenobi. I have taken a Wookiee chieftain who is being stood in for as from Chewbacca currently, which is another Wookiee commander. I have 2 Phase 2 units for the troopers. I have 3 Phase 1 trooper units. I have a unit of full arcs and a ARC trooper strike team. And then I also have 2 Wookiee warrior squads and a bark speeder. We're going to kind of also go into the upgrades we gave them. That's done differently because a single upgrade can float between units. So we're just going to cover all of those when we go over the upgrades we've had. So go ahead. What do you got, Daren?
All right. So since I went ahead and went with a power for my commander, I stayed away from picking a Jedi this time, and it gave me a few more points to play with on some of the other things. My Chewbacca is currently standing in for the Wookiee commander, which most of you have probably seen the spoiled cards. So I'm not actually running Chewie. I'm running a Wookiee commander. He's standing in for him. I like he's a pretty good tar pit, and he can do some stuff to lightsaber wielders if he needs to. Then I've got a clone commander for some of the clone sharing and for a cheaper commander. And then Padme. Now, as you can see in my list over here, Padme is not painted because I have never used Padme on a tabletop. Not that there's anything wrong with her. I have never used her. So I was like, you know what? Let's bring Padme into this, and we'll see how it goes. I've got 4 Phase 1 units and 1 Phase 2 units, 2 full Wookiee units.
We need to pick what divisions we are too.
Yeah.
So we'll go over that as well.
2 full Wookiee units, a pair of ATRTs. I kind of like them. And then, as you can see, this is also not completely painted or assembled.
Because he hasn't used that ever yet either.
I've never used it. It was in the box. So when I was putting this list together and I went going over all kinds of different lists, I went Saber Tank and all kinds of stuff. And I walked by and I saw this sitting in a box, and I was like, you know what, let's put that in and see what we can do with that thing. So I had to throw it together here recently and start throwing paint on it. So that's why that's now sitting on the table. I went with the Army, the infantry division for myself, for my own list.
And I went with the Special Forces division. Otherwise, I would have had an illegal list because I have 4 Special Forces.
Right.
So
and so I went with mine basically because of the cards. I like the cards. It's not that I didn't like the tree or anything, but I liked the cards.
And that doesn't matter. Your tree you pick does not have to coincide with your division, but it's just you get your force org chart for all you 40K guys out there is different depending on the division you pick.
And your command cards, you get different command cards.
You do.
And I really like the command cards for the infantry.
Yep.
Not that the special forces were bad. It just fit me more with this.
They're different.
Yeah, they are different, which is really cool. That's another really neat thing about this.
Yep.
So go ahead and throw out some upgrades.
All right, so because I have 2 power users, because we're not going to infringe on anybody's IP whatsoever, I have 2 versions of Force Push and 2 versions of Force Reflexes. Now, right now, I can't use all 4 of those. Obi-Wan only has 2 power slots, and my commander, my Wookiee Trooper commander, only starts with 1 because that's what I took, that was the first skill, was you gain 1 power slot. So I can't even use all 4 of these, but they're in my list because hopefully I will win some games and get some victory points to where I'll be able to upgrade him to get a 2nd slot, maybe. I have 2 versions of Vigilance, which is a command upgrade. I have 4 issues of situational awareness. I have 5s in Echo, which can be taken into any Clone Corps unit and into the ARC teams as a heavy weapon. I have a Phase 1 Z6 heavy weapon and an extra Phase 1 Trooper. I also have a Phase 2 Z6 and an extra Phase 2 Trooper. I have 2 Wookiee Bowcaster upgrades. I have 3 versions of the Offensive Push upgrade. I have 4 Recon Intels. I have 1 DC-15X ARC Trooper Sniper. I also have 1 version of Scopes, 1 version of Ascension Cables, 1 Jetpack, 1 Seize the Initiative, 2 versions of Into the Fray, which is, again, we're not playing in the future. Those cards have not been officially released, but they have been spoiled, so we know what they do.
Yep.
And then I have 2 versions of Impact Grenades.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it? All right. So I also went with a Force Reflexes for a power for my commander. I wasn't sure how far I was going to go into that tree as far as extra powers, but I knew I wanted to use some stuff, so I threw Force Reflexes on him. I've got 5s in here. 5s is a great clone additive, I think. Being able to hand out an order or coordinate an order. DP-23 for some Pierce against
that gun.
Some Pierce against these guys. I went with some concussion grenades too, just because that's different and it gets rid of cover a little bit. I've got several Force Recon Intels. Bowcaster, I went with the Shield Wookiee. Yeah, I added the Shield Wookiee. Let's go. And then I added some stuff that I don't always take that might come up. I Seize the Initiative.
You've seen me use it. I used it pretty good.
Yep.
So
yeah, I've got 4, I believe, situational awarenesses. I threw aggressive tactics, which is kind of expensive now, but I threw it on there just for something different. There's a bunch of offensive pushes. Into the Fray is also in there, which is a really nice card. So there's, nothing amazing, but I do have, I can add, I picked 1 rotary blaster and 1 flamer for my upgrades here. And then the LAT, I threw a couple of hacked comms, which is a new
another
card
one that just got spoiled.
Yep. And let's see. I have
Any
to double
pilots
check
or
on this.
anything for your LAT?
Yeah. I have to look to see what I've got if I wrote it down. Oop, I didn't get that far, so excuse me a sec while I write that down. Okay. So Clone Commander Fox.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
High energy shells and another hacked comms unit for the LAT. So I've got a bunch of different things that I don't use all that often, but I kind of want to throw in here because we're not sure exactly what the missions are going to be. So I kind of want to be as varied as I possibly could. So hopefully this comes out. We'd also talked, because we love pain.
Yep.
We'd also talked, since it is a campaign, and I had mentioned, if you lose a unit, so if you get a full unit and that unit is taken off of the board, the next battle that they come back for, if they come back for the next battle, they come back at half strength.
Right.
Mm-hmm. If you lose,
I messaged the 5th Trooper about this, saying, "Hey, have you guys thought of this?"
Yeah.
It's stuff that they have looked at. and there's more stuff coming. So
there's more stuff coming. So we're ahead of the game.
Maybe, or they're going to find out that it's too difficult to do.
Okay.
One or the other.
Because
we're not game balancers. We just come up with awesome ideas.
We're like, hey, this might be cool. Let's do this. Because then what I had figured is if, for instance, I lose a vehicle, if I bring it back to the next fight, the vehicle comes back just 1 point beyond damaged. Okay. And
Right.
if I lose a squad of Wookiees, if I bring that squad back the next battle, they're at 50%, or they start the battle at 50%.
So, and we did talk about this, since the Wookiees base unit is 3, they would get 2. We're going to round up.
Yeah.
So that if the base unit, and then we talked about, well, do they get to keep the heavy? Do they not get to keep the heavy? We went back and forth on, well, if you won the battle but lost the unit, you could scavenge the equipment, so maybe you could bring that. We
haven't closed it.
We
out.
like pain too much, so I mean, yeah.
I don't know. We're gonna do that, or we're gonna skip it for the first battle.
We might skip that one for the first battle.
All right, we'll see. But that's kind of what we're talking about as campaign guys. I also thought maybe if we're gonna do something like that, and it just kind of popped into my head. So we're at 1,200 points. If we allow each other to add 100 points of like medics and techs or something like that to take care of that. Oh. Right?
Yeah, maybe.
So that way you can mitigate some of the losses so you don't lose an entire...
Our medics suck though.
Well, but it's going to be free.
Okay, all right, okay.
Right? Basically. So we'll talk about that later off camera so you guys don't... But just so some ideas so you guys can see kind of where our brains go. Almost it's a little scary.
Right.
This is great. So for the 5th Trooper guys, if you get to see this, we love this. You could do us a little bit of a favor though on your list building thing. When you have your commander and you choose like where you want them to go on the skill tree, it'd be really cool if you could actually add what they could take or what adds to it, or maybe the extra
on their website.
On the website, yeah, on the extra, like on your army building list.
Legion HQ.
Yeah, Legion HQ, which is freaking awesome. It's great to use, but for this particular thing, and I'm not a programmer, I don't even know anything about how to do any of this, but if you could add when you choose like a clone trooper or something like that, it would pop up. Or if on your skill tree, if you could choose a skill tree for your commander, that would be way cool, and then you could just print it out. If you could do that, but this is so amazing. It doesn't need it. It's so amazing.
Right.
It's one of those things.
Right.
That,
So the other thing we had to do was to pick your command cards. Now you're not limited in the number. You still can only take 7 in a game, and you have to keep the normal 2 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s, and 1 4. But you get to create your deck, and so my deck is more or less everything that's available to me. Absolutely. So there's the 3 divisional command cards. I've got all of Kenobi's specific that he can issue orders from. Then I have the 3 Wookiee ones, which any Republic commander can give, but most of the benefits come from having a Wookiee commander issue them, and I have 2 of them. The 3 generics that come with everything, assault, push, and ambush, and then only one I took that was the Republic generic was Attack of the Clones. I didn't take the 2-pip because I'm not going to have a clone trooper or a field commander in my army, a clone trooper commander or a field commander in my army, so I can't even issue an order with that one. And the other one is synchronized assaults. I have 1 vehicle, but I may not want to have that one be the one I give the order to, especially when I have 3 other amazing 1-pips to choose from. So
I pretty much took everything that I could get my hands on.
Yeah.
I don't have near as many commanders as he does, or as many options.
I will say, I'm surprised you did not put Inspiring Presence on Padme.
Yeah, did not.
But that's...
We'll see. It bite me in the ass. Who knows? So I basically took everything that was available to me, which... the 3 divisional cards,
Padme's cards,
the Wookiees cards, and then everything for clones, because I've got basically 2 clone commanders.
He's got clone commanders. He's got a field commander. He's got vehicles out to wazoo.
Yeah, so I do have some variety, some stuff that I can throw out there. So my hard part now is going to be when we start making up lists is which of the 7.
We're going to need to put a time limit on that, because you don't get to make your list until you crack open the envelope right before you play.
Yeah.
And we're going to say you get 15 minutes. Otherwise, I will spend hours. Well, I could do this. I can change this a little bit here.
Well, I mean, we can crack open like the list now and then just show up with the list. It's fine. I don't care how long it take. You could take a week before we play.
Yeah. No, you're supposed to crack it open before you play. That's what the rules state.
All right.
We'll follow the rules.
All right. So you don't know what the first one is before we.
Maybe we will, maybe we won't. We'll see.
I can get it right now. It's sitting over there right now. I get it. Everybody can see it.
All right. Let's do it.
Okay, so here we are. We're going to pop open
Mission 1.
And we don't know anything. So if you have not played it, if you're looking for it, this is a little bit of a spoiler. You can kind of,
Stop now. Spoiler.
Yeah, stop now. Okay. So.
Mission 1.
Mission 1.
Now, we don't want to go over.
No. We're not going to go over. We're just going to kind of look at it. And we got cards, and it looks like we've got some tokens for it. So it's going to be something cool like that.
Okay. So in essence, it's 500 points. Okay, that's good to know. That's all we're going to say. It's 500 points.
Yep. So it's a skirmish list.
Yep. But we still get to use our same force org chart for our entire division.
So this is what we have to build that 500 points for. Only what you've taken that 1,200 points. Whatever you've taken for that 1,200 points.
That's what's in your battle cruiser.
That's what's in your
orbit.
cruiser, right? And that's what you can use for this.